All right, I think we're here. Hi, guys! G'day, g'day, g'day. Welcome. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good happy time zone to whatever time zone you happen to be. My name is Michael. I'm the Dead Aussie Gamer, and joining me today is none other than the incredible and wonderful GM Jared. Look at him. Look at his face. Isn't he gorgeous? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you this morning?
I'm
Or
freaking.
this evening?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a nice cruisy evening this evening. It's a little hot, but you know we're in Australia. It's kind of what to be expected, but there you go. It's so wonderful to see all of you guys here, and today, as you could probably tell, we're not following our regular schedule. We're not doing Rise of the Rune Lords, but that is because we are taking a quick hiatus. Now, what does this mean? Ari, one of our wonderful players who plays the role of Scarlet, was given a very, very amazing opportunity. Dawn, our wonderful player who does Nexon, has given birth to the amazing and beautiful Valkyrie. And of course, then there's, me and Becca, which we could play, but at the same time, we were like, we don't want to get too far through the adventure, missing out on everyone. So what we decided is that we were going to take a little bit of a hiatus, and then, come back when the team is good to go. Because obviously, ultimately, Jared has been doing an amazing job with Rise of the Rune Lords, that, it'd be a shame for anyone to really kind of miss out on it. So yeah, that's kind of what's happening. So today we were making the announcement. We're talking to you guys about it, and I thought I'd get Jared in, and we'd do some recaps over what had happened over the course of the adventure thus far. Highlight moments, things like that. Answer any questions that you guys might have about the story, the adventure, how me and Jared met, all this cool stuff, and yeah, just hang out for about an hour or so. So yeah, there you go. So I guess, if you guys have any questions, throw them in chat with the word question next to it, and we'll answer them. So where do we start? I don't know. Where do we start? Where would you like to start, Jared?
I would like to start. Okay. So I'm gonna say something, and it's not controversial. It is just a statement. I started this.
I was gonna say, I swear to God, if you just start with so the situation in the Ukraine. Here's a couple of things I think of. Like this wasn't the Q&A bit.
That's not part of it. Let me explain to you my thoughts on the whole your European situation. No, I want to say this. I have to say I definitely don't get to say this enough. I got to play with someone I admired and really inspired me to start doing this, and that's you, Michael. I didn't know I was gonna meet you when we first started playing, and this was when I signed up to run someone through a Pathfinder second edition thing, and then Michael shows up, and I didn't know anyone else except for Michael because I followed Dead Aussie Gamer on YouTube. I literally was I moved twice, and I would play your stuff in the background while I was redecorating my house or doing all this stuff, and then I got to play with you, and I was I don't know what I did, and they say never meet your heroes or never meet the people you inspire you, and I was inspired by Michael, and I was super scared. I was this is the dude I listen to this dude and I follow all of his stuff, and not all the time, right? Obviously different styles, but I was just he inspired me, and I went on a road trip with my wife, and I was playing you in the background. I would save your videos and play it because they were long enough, and it was part of the industry. And I just remember panicking on the inside when you showed up, and I was just I don't want to be here anymore. I'm going to vomit.
I feel. I mean, I don't know how to feel about it. I'm just, I've heard this story before when I asked Jared about to join us for this, but it never ceases to amaze me because I'm I still I don't know. I always still to this day feel so. When people say they've seen my stuff or they've heard of me, it's still till this day I get to that point where I'm you have what deep dark part of the internet did you need to find to see all that stuff? But no, that was so cool. I remember because we played with our friend Juice, who is actually the GM and person who runs Master of the Game. And I love Juice. Juice is so wonderful. He's such a wonderful personality. And you know, I get along with him super well. And his lovely wife as well, the two of them. And I hadn't at the time had a chance to play too many Pathfinder games. So he approached me and he said, "Hey, you know, look, I've got this GM. I wanna run through a Pathfinder game." And you know, no offense to Jared, right? Like I didn't hear a single word that came out of Juice's mouth. He just said, "Michael, do you want to play Pathfinder?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, please. All the Pathfinder in this direction." And he said, he says, "I haven't even told you what it is." And I said, "I do not care. I will be there with bells on." And I also, besides Juice, I actually didn't know anyone who was at that thing. And it was actually also where I got to meet, oh God, what was his name? Freaking, the Pathfinder guy, the new Pathfinder guy.
No,
Freaking, yeah,
Nat.
right? Huh?
Yeah. Was it Nonat?
Yeah, it was Nonat.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
But he has like a real human name. I only know his channel.
No, I know his name, but it's not Brendan. It's definitely not Brendan.
Not Brendan.
Anyway, I digress. Nonat, yes, I got to meet Nonat for the very first time, and I hadn't encountered Nonat prior to any of that sort of stuff. So the only person I knew there was Juice and Jared. And again, I also hadn't bumped into Jared before, and I had no expectations. They said, "What do you want to play?" And I said, "I want to play a goblin. I'll play a goblin drunken monk."
Yeah.
And his name was Wobbles. And I remember that. It's just like, what's your expectations of this game? I'm going to throw a shoe at someone. That was my only expectation for that game, and I got to do it. So, but it was very sweet. Because as I said, you know, like I don't usually get the opportunity to play too many people, and yeah, it is very much Noria. It is definitely a wild DAG appeared. And Jared ran an amazing game. Like that game was a lot of fun. Actually, I want to see if I can find it now. Let me just see if I can.
I do have to say I am very and this ties in. I feel it flows in very greatly. So Michael got to play a monk, right? There was he wanted to play a drunken brawler, which at the time I don't think they had released the drunken master fist.
They didn't. That's right.
So Michael was like, "Can I do this?" And we were like, "Yeah, sure." Like I was very much like, "Sure, you're the guy I follow, so I'm not gonna say no to you, right?" Like,
totally upset with me. 100%.
Yeah, well, later on.
No, anytime. I was just, carry on. I'm gonna stop interrupting.
I hate it. I still hate the monk class. I still think it should not be a real class. And that's the most controversial thing I'll say right now.
Rude.
But you actually, yeah, right. Like, but through role play, it was really cool. Like I thought like, oh, okay, I could see someone playing the monk, but just fighters are better. Sorry, I'm pro fighter.
Look, I think, okay, so actually, you know, it's really funny you mentioned this because recently I got into a discussion about, like barbarians being a subclass of the fighter and the monks being a subclass of the fighter and stuff like that. And I mean, I gotta say this. I've listened to the arguments. I've listened to what people had to say. And I firmly disagree. I don't know why people are on this trend. I don't know where this trend came from. Aha, found it. Haha. The Bloomin' Catastrophe. I feel like I was I feel like, you know, as the Australian there, I was like, you know, like, okay, I guess the Blooming Catastrophe. It's like for Aussies it means the Bloomin' Catastrophe. Anyway, there you go. Wait, did I post it? Yeah, there it is. Right there. There's the link. So if you want to go check out the game where me and Jared met, that's the one right there. I'm also going to put it up in Discord as well because it was a wonderful one-shot. And I don't know if it's in my one-shot folder, but there's a one-shot folder in my Discord.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's live plays, inactive. Let me have a look real quick. I've got a whole bunch of like random one-shots that I've done, but I don't think I put this up there. No, I did not. All right, there we go. I think it is now making... Oh my god, I've even got that very, very strange game that I played with Guy. We played... There we go. So now it is in the one-shots section. There we go. One-shots with Master the Juice in there. Boom. Anyway, I digress. Sorry, carry on. You were talking about the monk. I was saying, you know, like, I disagree. I think they all have unique styles, enough so that they are they play differently, right? And if you play a fighter by just hitting things and saying, I roll dice and I smack things, you're doing yourself a disservice to the fighter. Just like if you are a barbarian who say that I rage and I hit things, you're doing a disservice to the barbarian.
Yeah.
And if you say I'm a monk and I roll and I hit things twice, then you're doing a disservice to the monks. The thing is, it's all about flavor. You can play a fighter who is unarmed, but that doesn't necessarily mean you are playing a monk. If just like you can play a rage-filled monk, but that doesn't make you a barbarian. The thing is, the play styles are incredibly different. And while you can adjust your personality and your style anywhere, right? It's not your class feature that defines how you use things. Like I've used Malvolo is a great example. Malvolo's primary skill is crafting, and I've used crafting for almost everything in this game, and it had nothing to do with me being an inventor, because I think we started off the game and I was a summoner when we started playing. So, but I was using it, there, and then eventually went into it. So it's kind of one of those things where, I don't like the monk is not popular. I mean, look, I'll admit, like the martial classes do tend to have a little bit of contestation, but I say this: if you are creative, if you are fun, if you understand the human body, even a basic amount, you can have amazing things. You can have amazing things happen with any of the martial classes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted your story. You were talking.
No. That was my story, and I always segue all my stories into how much I dislike the monk class. So that's just kind of what I've become known for. In my own personal groups, everyone's like, "Why do you hate the monk class so much?" I was like, I don't know, man. And like, especially in and this isn't like a rip. I feel Dungeons and Dragons, they like 5th edition has like this really interesting like multi-class system, where you kind of like you start to get like everything from column A and everything from column B, very like as per the genie song in Aladdin, right? You want a little of column A, you want a little of column B, but you could get all of column C, and that's kind of what it is. But with Pathfinder, their multi-class system is dramatically different, and the monks seem to have suffered the most in that system. They don't get their like flurry of blows to like 7th level, and I'm just like, man, that's rough. Like, especially if you're like, I want to like the your concept where you were like being a drunk and you want to brew your own alcohol so you could drink your own booze and stuff like that. Like an alchemist monk would be cool, right? Like a drunken master, and they walk around, with their jug of rice wine, and they make their own wine. That would be cool. But like flavor wise, awesome, right? Like a role play, awesome. But then you hop into your campaign and you're like, I can't flurry or blows, and everyone's like, but that's the monk thing. And you're like, guys, I gotta wait like 7 levels. I can't. I haven't figured out how to punch twice.
Yeah, well, keep in mind, just because you haven't punched twice, doesn't mean you haven't made several attacks. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like for me, even the maneuvers to make an attack can be quite amazing. Like if you have, like, say for example, Savat, you could describe the action as, all right, so as I get ready to attack, I'm actually waiting for a counter strike. So I'm going to ready an action that when this guy hits me, I'm going to like just throat thrust him just as he hits. So you're readying an action to take an attack, and it's not a flurry of blows. But then in the next round, if they turn around, they're like, okay, cool. As he goes to hit you, your readied action goes off. You go bang, and then as he's recoiling, just your turn then immediately happens afterwards, and you're like, cool. Now I'm going to hit him again, and there is your self-made flurry of blows at level 1. The thing is, it's all about the fact that you need to kind of you open your mind into like how the combat system works and how things go, and you can create a vibe super easy. It just takes that, I don't know. Like I said, it's a very weird thing to describe. It's not that people are uncreative. I think people are just, if the rules don't tell you do this, it's a lot harder to turn around and go, well, the rule is a tool. It's a spanner. It's literally a spanner, right? It's a spanner.
Nice.
And the thing is, if you get told that this is how a spanner gets used, like you have to use it this way, you forget that you can flip it around. There's actually this thing here as well that you can actually use with leverage as well. So you don't, there are multiple ways to use your spanner if you just like look at it a bit more carefully. There you go. Ta-da! There we go. All right. So again, guys, if you have any questions for us, don't forget, Put it in chat. Questions about RPGs, Pathfinder, or even Rise of the Rune Lords. We'll be keeping you talking. Also, by the way, I saw Cordon's Corbleu say, seriously, I'd like to play a monk, but with no combat skills, proficient in making wine and calligraphy. Yes, but that is a Protestant monk, not a martial artist monk. So you'd shave your head and you just walk around like Friar Tuck. Yeah, exactly. It's a different type of monk.
I like that monk.
Yeah, it's a great monk.
That monk.
It's a great monk.
By the way,
yeah,
I have now scammed Michael into giving a little of his information away publicly for free. So you're welcome, everyone who's watching.
What information? What have I done?
All your like tips and secrets.
Oh yeah, that's true. I
totally just got you to give away a bunch.
It's like the only. It's like one of my big reasons why I get asked to do stuff is because like when a GM asks a player to like go and be on a game, they're always going to get a very unique experience with me because it always starts with, "Hey GM, how far can I bend you?" Yeah. And the GM's like, "I don't know. What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Well, let's say I've got this mushroom, and it just goes off. It goes weird from there. But yeah, actually, Quincy's Tavern. I was recently on a game with Quincy from Quincy's Tavern. Actually, okay, this is just between us. Okay, don't everyone just be cool. Okay, I was like so freaking excited. You have no idea. Like, I was one of the first adventurers to actually adventure in Quincy's Tavern in the canon setting. And it was freaking incredible. It was amazing. But not only that, and it means nothing. It means nothing. And I want to point out this. This means absolutely nothing. But I was also the first person to enter Quincy's Tavern. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, yes, I jumped on that wagon. I jumped on it. I didn't mention it. I was super cool about it. I was like, yeah, no, it's cool. Okay. I walk in, I hang up my jacket. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is fun. And I was like, oh my God, my PC. My PC was the first person to canon walk into Quincy's Tavern. It was amazing. But that wasn't the story. The story is, I asked Quincy, why me of all people? Like there are so many talented people out there in the internet. So many people who do amazing jobs, like lots of podcasters, lots of things. And it was because we played on Phoenix Iwaki's channel together. And it was absolutely wonderful. Me and Quincy got to play brothers, and we were just bouncing off each other like the two of us. Every time something would happen, like we actually had characters. Our stats were so crap, and the two of us just said, "There is no way we are going to do anything in this game. So what do we do?" And then we said, "What if we just turnip farmers?" Like, what do you mean? It's like, what if we're not adventurers? What if we don't battle? What if we don't have anything? What if we farm turnips? And, it's like, yeah, what if my character has a heart condition? Like we're not adventurous. So it was really funny. And it was like we walked into the battle, and then one of the characters walks out, and it's like this deer with these huge freaking antlers, big, kind of muscle.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we just went, "Oh, please don't kill us. We are worms, worthless worms." And then both of us are just, just being really irritating. It was very funny. It was amazing. It was awesome to play with Quincy in that one. But yeah. Also, Sage was adorable. Yes. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I love axolotls. McBluff's onto it. I definitely love axolotls. I really, really do. And one of the players was a wizard axolotl. And I'm gonna. Okay. So Lightbox Gnome. I'm gonna share this. Yeah. I don't know if I should share it because it's not my artwork, but I'm gonna share it anyway because I love you guys and you guys know this. Okay.
Artwork is amazing and should always be shared.
Okay.
I mean, there's an entire app called Pinterest for specifically.
That's true. That's true. Let me share this with you because of the wonderful things he does. Okay. So this is the. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a couple of pieces of artwork here. This was some of the fan art that was done immediately after that game.
I love fan art. I think
this is one of the reasons why I love McBluff so much. McBluff's fan art is amazing and incredible. All right, so you ready? Go. You ready? Here we go. Okay.
Go. I want to see. Oh my God, that guy's amazing.
How freaking adorable. Oh my God. And this is made by the player, so one of the players who played our Chaos Bard by the name of Cyril made this, and I thought, this was just the cutest goddamn thing ever. Cuddle it. Yeah, I thought it was adorable, and there was other fan art that was made as well. I want to share, like I said, I wanted to share that one, but you know, there was also let's see if I can get that one up. Here we go. And this was some other artwork for the Axolotl Wizard, done by one of the fans of Jackie, who was the player who played it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like freaking adorable as heck. Look at that. That was just wonderful. Look at that.
Oh,
it was yeah. So that was adorable. You know, the axolotl with the bugs. And then like when I breathed out, like there was a moment where we were being targeted by turrets, and so I basically used pyrotechnics to just like dragon breath smoke to give us cover.
Oh, that's cool.
But we were in an area that like sort of kind of smelled like mint, so it was like minty fog. And then you got like down here in the bottom was like a little front pouch that Lucifer, one of the other players, had made so that she could be carried. And one of the chambers that we went into was like covered in moss, so she just sort of went Pfft, and then just made little moss angels. Man, I kid you not, Jackie the axolotl. If you're watching, Jackie, which you know, I mean, maybe you are, maybe you're not, but Jackie, if you are watching, that axolotl was my spirit animal. Like, holy crap, that was amazing, and she was so incredible. Anyway, I digress. The point I was trying to make, which I keep getting deferred from, was that creative thinking is just another way to play. It's not the way to play. It's not the best way to play. But if you find yourself struggling with a character or with a build or with a concept, right? Take some time to chew on it, like really chew on it. Some of my favorite classes have come about because I've turned around and I've gone, I hate this. I absolutely hate this class, or I hate this race. And then I sit down and I research it and I chew on it a little bit, and then I'm like, actually, there are a number of things I could do to really make this like enjoyable. And that's kind of what I mean, right? And the monk in your game, the first game that we played, was exactly that. I was like, what is the most complicated and everyone says is completely useless? And of course it's the ranger. And then following the ranger, but I think someone else was playing a ranger. And and then what's the next one was the monk. So that's why I said, okay, how do I make a monk entertaining? And at the time it didn't know drunken kung fu, so I said drunken kung fu. And then I specialized him in like using improv things. So he would literally just pick things up and just start hucking them at people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was awesome.
Yeah, you guys, I have to appreciate that. Yeah, I think that's like one of the biggest problems with like sometimes people can't get on like with a character concept, or even like when they come in and they have like in their head that like, oh, I am 100% playing this character, and I feel like that does a disservice. Is like, if you have a person who comes in and they're like, oh, I want to specifically play, I don't know, like a love struck bard, and the GM's like, yo, like we're not doing a romance campaign, like that's gonna be silly. Like you could do it, but understand we're gonna have like, you know, the whole. Imagine playing like Lord of the Rings and like Gimli was a love struck bard. Wouldn't make sense, but there would be moments, right? Like there'd be moments.
Yeah,
I think that's like sometimes people do that is they you know, they you have to have those moments to like really chew on the concept and like work with your GM and work with yourself on like, oh, I have this idea and I really want to do this, but I can't.
No, absolutely 100%. And yeah, it's definitely trying to find those moments and making them the focus rather than trying to live every single moment like it has to be about you. Now, I don't want to call people out, and you guys know that this is not the case, but I definitely want to say this was an incident where I saw it happen, but it was okay because it was in the context of a one-shot. So when you do a one-shot adventure, you want to be there as much as you can, right? That's the nature of it. But I remember I played a game with a character who was obsessed with socks. And she was a fantastic performer. She did an amazing job. But there was, and every conversation was about socks because that was a massive element to the character. and it was awesome. It was great and it was solid. But I kept thinking to myself, like, I wanted to know more about the character. I wanted to know other facets of them. What are you without socks? And in the same way, in this case, it's like, what are you without, like, saying being the love-struck bard? If you aren't in a situation with romance, what are you then? And those are a lot of fun to explore. Also, Reckon, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for stopping by. People overstuff RP in inopportune moments. I did a one shot yesterday. Yes, yeah, no, they absolutely do. People, and I understand. The thing is to understand why people do that. The thing is if you, especially if you're doing a one shot, it's the shelf life of your character. If I'm playing in a, like, say, a 40 game campaign, right? Like if I know that I'm going into an ongoing campaign, I'm definitely a lot more chill than I am in games where I know that I've got a shelf life. Like if like take a look at Wobbles. Wobbles is a great example. How much do you need to know about Wobbles? Well, I've got 4 hours amongst the 4 or 5 other people at this table to tell you everything you need to know about Wobbles, because Wobbles lives at the start of that game and dies at the end of it. You know what I mean? Not end character, but you know what I mean? That's the shelf life.
That's it.
Yeah. So you try to be extra in different scenes. You insert yourself, and understanding how to give and take between your fellow storytellers is it's a trick. You need to learn it. You need to practice, and it's what's going to work with some people isn't going to work with others. You know, if the way I would behave with, say, Robert would definitely not be how I'd behave with, say, Matt Mercer, right? It'd be a very different scenario, because there'd be different expectations, there'd be different understandings of how to do feedback back and forth. Like, I've had romance scenes with Robert's characters before, like the character Flint and Badland Santa are romantically involved. We did not plan it. You know, we didn't sort of sit there and go, you know, oh, that's kind of weird. You know, we felt the mood, we kept to it, we trusted each other, we went back and forth, and it happened. Alternatively, we've had characters who have been rivals, you know. If you find the right group of people that can accept that role play as well as make room for you, then you're in a good space, you know, and that's always wonderful. Also, Reckon, tell us about your one shot, and if you have a link, throw it in chat. Throw that link in chat, because we here at the Dead Aussie Gamer channel, we celebrate all of our content creators. We celebrate all the cool stuff that we do, and I'd love to check out your one shot. NVNG, I believe I should elucidate that I redraw the posters, meaning you kill the party.
Oh, I'm going to kill them. Everyone's going to die.
Okay.
Why? I specifically go out in the game, and I'm like, hey, I should TPK everyone.
Yeah.
Actually, I've specifically, I will say this. I specifically have tried to kill Collodi like 7 to 8 times. And that son of a bitch won't die.
Yeah, it's like, you'll never take me alive.
Yeah, he just nukes himself, which I think is like the coolest. I'm not gonna lie, like, so I have a hard time. I don't know if you've ever had this, but like, I play with some older players, right? So they're coming from like the old school, like 2nd edition AD&D situations.
I'm gonna circle back around to that, but carry on.
Yeah, and so they struggle with like guns and gunpowder and black powder in their fantasy, because they're actually from like when Lord of the Rings, the books were huge in the United States. Like, think like Stranger Things. Like, they were.
Are you just
like,
talking about Steve here? Are you just ragging on Steve?
No,
Steve,
maybe a little bit.
I'm not
He's
making
watching, by the way.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, you know, be nice to Steve. Steve's awesome. Okay, I've got your back, mate. Right? Okay. Look. Anyway, go on. Make your point.
But I sometimes struggle with that same concept. When like you were like, oh, I want to play Summoner, I was like, okay, it makes sense. And then Inventor came out, and you were like, nah, man, Inventor is like legitimately
exactly
like how
what
I pictured. Yeah. You were like, oh, I you know, Collodi would be a puppet, and I wanted them to be the puppet, and you know, Marvolo was a puppet maker, or like that's why they have traps.
Yeah.
And so it fit perfectly. And I was like, that was like my struggle was like, how does Inventor work? And in my head, it was like Collodi was like the Brooklyn Pinocchio, because like the way you gave him the accent and like the way he acts. And I've actually, the worst part is I've had more fun trying to kill Clody because I know Clody can die but always come back. So he's like the greatest. Like, I'm going to target Clody with like
He's very
fireball.
cathartic. He's very cathartic to beat up Clody.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, here's remembering I'm cycling back to the second ed stuff, but real quick on that one, the real trick to good GMing is convincing players that you're losing, because ultimately as a GM you are infinitely powerful, even within the scope of the rules. There is nothing to stop you from dropping 6 red dragons into a scenario, and I'm sure the more creative individuals out there will know exactly how to justify that sort of thing. But you pace everything. You design when the encounters are. You decide where the hit points are. I mean, for example, most hit points are actually done in hit dice. So it's like 4d10 plus blah, and this is the set value of the average. Doesn't mean it can be higher or lower. You can set whatever they are, and that is perfectly fine. Infinite red dragon. Yeah, exactly. Right? You can do anything you wanted to. The players give you their trust. They hand to you the power to be a GM, and what we do with that is to earn that trust and allow the players to come on this journey with us. But the hardest bit is losing all the time.
Oh man.
Always having to face the bitter pill of defeat, being that sensation of like, I've spent 6 hours and I've designed this epic boss battle. Oh, it's going to be amazing. And they're going to kill it or beat it up, or, you know what I mean? That's the ultimate result for it. It's a tough pill to swallow. So having those little moments of catharsis are great. And it doesn't always have to be, this guy's annoying me, I'm going to beat him up and explode him. But having an actual target that is renewable. I'm gonna say this once, and I hope he's not watching, but I know he might be. One of my players in my Strange Aeons games, Met Brecker, is a summoner as well. He does summon a lot of creatures, and I don't do it on purpose. I do it because I know he's summoning creatures to soak damage. But it's very rare that those summons do much before they get wiped out, because summons are generally pretty weak. But I get what you're saying. That kind of catharsis is great. It helps you kind of get that next wave to go, awesome, cool. I blew up Kalodi. Screw that guy. Okay, let's get going, That's great. Longtooth was my first baby dragon. Now it's a time-traveling dragon. It's true, it's a time-traveling dragon. I actually haven't even encountered time-traveling dragons before, so there you go. Okay, now I want to cycle back to the old school gamer. And I want to say this. I want to shatter some worldviews here, because here's the thing. I don't believe in anything like new school, old school gamer. And here's why. Number one is, as someone who grew up a video gamer primarily, right? There are modern video games that I still play and I still enjoy. And I tell people this. The difference between someone who's into a lot of the new video games and the people who are into like the old ones is nothing, right? The difference is you're playing this game maybe for the first time, maybe for the second time, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is coming out at the end of the year. Great, fantastic, amazing, right? All that matters, all that's different is that I've played a couple more Pokemon games than you, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that you've played only Diamond and Pearl and then gone straight into, Arceus and then, Sapphire and Violet. That doesn't matter at all. The difference is that I've experienced it a little bit differently to how you have. It doesn't make your journey any less or more valid. And I think a lot of people who look and objectify the editions that they started with or the times that they started with, I think the thing is it's not important to the way that they were. Because, yes, the old school gamers were like this. I think what's more important is how they behave now. If I were to say that I were behaving the way I was when I first started GMing, I would be a complete tosser. No one would be in this chat right now. No one would be talking to me. No one would be figuring anything out. It's just, young DAG was an awful DAG. And actually, you know what? Someone actually said this in chat. Where is it? Rekka. It was Reckon. Said, I'm going to catch you on this. Where is it? This wasn't my stream. Yeah, no, here it was. It was my first time doing it, and I messed up a lot. That's very brave of you to say, Reckon, and let me tell you why. Because I'll tell people this. One thing that's made me as good as I am is not the fact that I started in 1970 whatever and learned the first editions of D&D. It wasn't that. And I tell people this all the time. It is because I play and run so many games, because it's my job, it's my profession. I have screw it, we're going with the M rating today. I have fucked up so many times in my career as a DM that if you got them all together, the amount of times I've messed up a game, screwed up a character, balked as a GM, or even had players walk out of my games, if you added all those times up, I have failed more times than some people will ever try Dungeons and Dragons in their lifetime, right? And every single time that happened, I learned something new and I did something different and then I figured something out. And it's an evolving process, So those people who play AD&D, for example, I find visualize so much better than people who started with D&D 5e. And that's
100%.
And it's not because they're better or they're worse or any of that sort of stuff. It has to do with the method in which second edition existed. You used to actually have, and for those of you who've never seen or dealt with AD&D before, and I didn't, by the way. I kind of retroactively learnt about it because I'm a nerd. The books actually used to not describe what was in a room. It used to just be a picture, like a 1 or 2 page spread of this is what you see, and the GM was in charge of either describing what was on the page or just like boom, just holding it out there and saying this is what you see, and then you kind of had to play like Where's Wally, and you're like, what's under that pile of clothes over there? And do you see that little rune that's hidden underneath the little banner there? Yeah, okay, I see that. So you didn't actually make the perception checks. You kind of were the perception checks. You looked for this stuff, which gave people the vocabulary and the abilities to do that. So it's a different journey entirely. And the reason I wanted to circle back to that because I was going to say this. If you're watching in the audience, doesn't matter what edition you've played, doesn't matter how long you've played. What matters to me is your journey. Your journey is unique. Remember that your journey is what makes you the GM that you are, or the player that you are, and that there's always room for improvement. There is not a GM I have met, and you guys know what kinds of GMs I've met. There is not a GM I have met that I have sat there and gone, he knows everything, or she knows everything. That's never happened, and it never will happen. I guarantee you, the day I meet Matt Mercer, it won't happen, because, there are great GMs out there, but no one is perfect, and everyone is constantly getting better, and everyone is constantly learning. That's my 100% belief. There you
go. On top of the Michael has never met a GM, he's I have to say, the one thing I've learned through our entire time playing together, doing Rise of the Room Lords together for these past 3 years, honest to God, having a trusted friend, or in this case, my producer and now a friend, just shit on you. And I'm sorry, I'm using the worst term possible, but
no, we're in M zone now.
As a New Yorker, it's proper for me to say this. Just to like rag on you, because it not in like the just is like I'm gonna be mean. I'm just saying mean stuff, but to like actually come at you and critique your work and then force you to be better. I've jumped, like my gaming as a GM has like dramatically changed from like when I first started playing with you to currently. I'm so much more confident, and it was because I had someone like, hey, great session, you did great. Like you had those situations where it was weird and blah, 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 blah. Cool. I brought you up. Now here's the kick in the balls. Let me tell you how terrible it was in these situations.
Well, you know what? Actually, let's talk about this. Let's talk about some of these behind the scenes moments, because this does happen from time to time. Now, let's start with let's wash over the first easy one. The first easy one is so me and Jared, when we first started getting to know each other and things like that, it was a very, very big milestone for me because I'd never had someone GM on my channel for long term. Like, that was never a thing. My channel has always been about, I guess, my interaction with you guys, the audience. It's always been that, like all my shows, everything. You guys know this, right? I talk to the audience. You guys are a part of every stream I run here, and that's important to me because it's about community. It's about what we're doing. So having to hand those reins over to someone else was tricky because I only had very small interactions with Jared, and Jared was very, very, very open to, I guess criticisms is another thing, and I am very critical, very, very critical as a producer. You guys don't see this behind the scenes, but I am, and you know what, Eddie could probably tell you all the kind of horror stories. I am insufferable at times, and I'm getting better. I'm not perfect. Again, we all go through this. I'm not perfect, but we have had some moments where you've had amazing games, and we've had some moments where we've had very long and deep tutorial exercises at the end of a session. I guess let's talk about some of these ones, because I think this is a really, really nice little thing to focus on. So, what was one of your most memorable, I guess, instances of that at the end of a show?
Okay, so there was one. So it was when I first started working with you, right? And this is kind of the one that like kicked me in my pants and changed me forever. I was never really part of this industry, right? Like this is an industry and it's run by professionals. I was coming in as like a snot-nosed young brat. And as all good snot-nosed young brats, I thought my way was the best way. I was like, I'm the best at what I do. Look, and then like, of course, my ego got in the way because I was like, yo, look, this dude, Michael, came to me and he talked to me and he's famous. In my head, he's famous and you are famous, right? Like I knew you. So I was like, yo, famous dude wants to talk to me. Clearly, I'm the best. Like, whatever. F whoever is around, blah, blah, blah. I'm the Pathfinder dude. So I was playing, and obviously it was like one of the earlier sessions, and we were kind of just doing like role play, but I was poorly like leading you on because everything has to be structured.
Right. No, I do remember that. I do remember that.
Yeah. I was doing very badly at like pushing the story forward. And we ended, and you were like, I remember everyone go off, and Michael's like very polite, like professionals, like, hey, have a good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for playing, blah, blah, blah. Everyone, like,
because the catch is, I will never do this in front of other people.
The proper, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would never do this in front of other people because for me, that's about being professional. Being professional is if I as a producer need to talk to my, GM, I will talk in that perspective. But I absolutely will never, what's the word? I would never do something to undermine another person. That for me is just wrong. So anyway, this was actually a really good point. So we were talking about the fact that, and I think it was maybe week 3 or week 4.
Yeah, it was like
and
earlier.
Every episode for the first few weeks ran like almost an hour overtime. And for me, we all know that I start the stream at like 8 or 9 o'clock. So by the time we're finishing, it's like 1 or 2 o'clock. And then I had my Monday game on bright and early. So these games were, these games were kind of like, I was like, why is this taking so long and why aren't we going anywhere? And after observing for a while, I'd realized it's because Jared didn't have what was called the lead on. He didn't have the scene transitions down. So what he would do is he would describe a scene, then go quiet and wait for someone to go somewhere. And if we didn't if no one expressly said, I go to the supermarket or I go to this town and do stuff, we didn't do anything. And it was really interesting because everyone else was waiting. And the way that Becca, who plays Rain, our Alceste druid, Becca is a phenomenal performer, and she does. Oh my God. She waits an appropriate amount of time, then she fills in the blanks with role play. So she starts engaging, and she starts talking, and she starts acting in character, and she has these wonderful and amazing scenes, which then everyone then leads off and bounces off, and then it happens. Then there's another pause. And then it happens again, and somebody else leads into more role play and stuff like that. And so we found ourselves caught in these loops where we're just role playing in empty scenes because Jared wasn't moving everyone along. I do remember that one because, and this is very specific, because our very first game featured none other than Eric Mona from the actual Paizo stuff. So this was actually one of the primary writers of Pathfinder 2nd Edition, who is a wonderful human being and a great friend. If you're watching, by the way, hi Eric. Sorry, I haven't called you in a while. Man. It's not because I don't like you. It's because I'm busy. But I love you. Love you, Eric. Anyway, don't send that to Eric. That's so weird. Anyway, point is, after that, I was kind of like, okay, why are we still here? Why have we, like we're supposed to be getting through these in like 14 episode brackets, and we're into episode 4 and we're in scene 1, where have we gone wrong? What's happening? These are 3-hour games. That's like 12 hours in. And yeah, I do remember that one. I do remember that conversation very distinctly. And we practiced. I want to say for
Yeah.
like 2 hours afterwards. It was like 3 a.m. I think by the time we got
Yeah,
off the call.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, the lesson. I mean, Jared, you took everything on board. I felt really bad, and I know I was repeating this. And don't do this if you ever have to give constructive criticism.
Do it.
Don't say I don't mean to be mean. Never say that to people.
No.
Just say what you need. Just say your piece. Because I felt after I got out off that call, because again it was 1 a.m. Okay, so I forgive
It was
myself.
late.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgive myself for something. I just kept saying, like, hey, I don't mean to be mean, right? But you need to do this. You can't do this all the time. You need to,
Yeah.
But I don't mean to be mean, but that stuff there, if you do that, it goes this way, and that won't work because we'll be here forever. And and the thing is, and this is why I trust Jared, and this is why Jared, after so many years, is now a firm friend of mine and someone who I would trust to run any game on my channel. Jared looked me square in the eye. He understood what I was saying. He asked questions that for stuff he didn't understand. He wasn't just listening with his tail tucked between his legs, just kind of like, oh, I've got criticism. No, he took it as what it was, which was it was a way to shape, how the games were run. And it was an immediate impact. And that was what made me know I'd made the right decision. This is the guy. This is the dude. This is the person I trust. This is the person I want running my games because yeah, like I mean like as time went on, less and less problems occurred. I mean, we had we've had a couple of incidents obviously here and there,
Yeah,
but it showed me right out the gate that Jared was willing to bend and to improve and to do things to help. Because there's obviously running games for your friends and there's running games for a performance or for a show,
Yeah.
And we both understood that right out the gate. That it wasn't me telling Jared, "Hey Jared, you're GMing wrong and you need to do this, otherwise you're doing it the wrong way." It was hey guys, look, we got 3 hours here and our sponsors last 14 episodes. I mean, I got no guarantee on the series beyond that point, and it's still that case right now where it's like we've got sponsorship to here, okay? Beyond here, we're trying to so we're trying to keep to schedules and stuff, but yeah, no, that was a good one. I do remember that one very, very distinctly. Yeah.
That was like the greatest. So if anyone's ever seen it, one of my favorite movies is Gangs of New York.
I love Gangs of New York.
The main character, Bill, one of the main characters, amazing actor, played him. Is like that was the greatest ass whooping I ever got when he's talking about how he got his like fake eye, and that like. Literally, that's how I felt after Michael got off done. Like when he was like, "Listen, man, it's like 3:30 in the morning. I got like I'm gonna hit the hay. I got a game in like 2 hours. I'll see you later." I was like, "All right, cool." And like I did feel like you always feel defeated, right? Like that's a natural human walkthrough. But then like I was like, nah, like he's like I wanted to get better, and honestly, that's the greatest gift one of your players or in this case my producer / friend can give you is legitimate criticism. Be like, yo, like I hated X, I hated Y, I wish we could do this. And you'll notice like either the GM will take it seriously, and this is good in any campaign. GM will either take it seriously or they'll be like, next week 50 hobgoblins just stab you in the head with crossbows. Then you realize like that person's just being a jerk because they didn't take risks.
Absolutely. And the thing is you also got to remember you can't always have and Petiola said this in chat as well. You can't always have a but, because but will, as you said, negate any compliment you give. A lot of people talk about the compliment sandwich, like say something nice, say something, criticism. I respect that kind of works with some people. I think it's also a bit of a soft touch if that's not being too negative. For me, it's like, no, if I have something to say to you, I'll say it to you, right? But on the other hand, if I've got something positive to say to you, I will say, this was freaking great. And there have been so many games that I've turned around to Jared and been like, holy crap, that was incredible. You knocked it out of the park. And I'll do that privately, not because I don't want to, don't want to celebrate Jared on stream, or if I don't want to celebrate Jared in the green room, but because I want Jared to know that as a friend and as the producer, I want him to know when he does amazing work. Like everything from like Crut, for example, like the whole saga of that end scene with Crut. Like because I'm not privy to the behind the scenes stuff that Jared prepares. Like we talk on occasion when an event happens. Like for example, when AJ needed to step away, we obviously discuss like, hey, how many episodes do we have based on the schedule? What are some sort of angles we can look at to help write AJ out, concisely without necessarily disrupting the major story. So we talk about stuff like that, but for the most part, we don't like communicate in regards to any of the specifics. So when Crut and all of that stuff happened at the end of season 1, no expectation, none, and that still till this day gives me like chills. I still think of that as one of my best games. Was like getting to actually enjoy that, and. March 4th is actually International GM Appreciation Day, but I think every day is National GM Appreciation Day. Guys, just take your time and appreciate your GMs when they do excellent stuff like that. And again, just to reiterate, not every one of these compliments need to end with but you could also do this, or and also this. Just compliment them. Just say this was awesome. This was great. I remember this. I will remember this instant forever. It's amazing. Also, hi, Odd Bandicoot. But yeah.
Oh, I have to say, also, I'm super proud. Every time a player has left to like go on. So the reason why, and this kind of goes into like what we're talking about now, just like free balling, but like the reason why we're taking a bit of a hiatus. It's okay. We've lost a few of our players to real life stuff, and that's perfectly normal. And it's okay to have that conversation and say like, yo, man, like. I have a new kid, or I got a job, and blah, blah, whatever. Real life supersedes whatever you're doing, until we're making Critical Role amounts of like $2 million an episode. Which, God bless them, they figured it out. But if anyone wants to donate $2 million, I'll take it in singles, just so I can roll around on the bed in all the dollars. But everyone we've kind of like had leave and like go away, but they will return sooner or later. I've gotten the group to cry. I cried on a few of them, and like I've never had like that emotional connection to not my players, right? My players become my friends, but like to characters. Like when the character leaves, I'm like, bye, see you later, character. But like it was like there's a few episodes you can watch, and like I'm like is it when Crut left, people were like tearing up, and that was like new, right? Like, no, we hadn't like been together long enough, but people were like tearing up, and like I remember people were mad. Becca was like not mad, like I'm mad at the GM, but like mad at like what happened and like how the situation changed the characters, and and it's really cool. Like Nexon's character, or like Dawn's character, has like gone through the most dramatic changes. She met like a friend. Oh man, I have so many great memories now. Like they're all floating back. But like Nexon, remember in the tower over the water when we wound up somehow streaming to like all of Twitch all at once, and it was like lagging us all up. And she met like the theater owner is now a doppelganger because she found the face. And I feel like I put Nexon through the ringer. And then she was like, we didn't know, or I didn't know early on that like she was pregnant, right? That's for her. So I'm like just hitting her with like all these like emotional things, and she's like, the next week she's like, guys, I'm finally letting everyone know I've been pregnant. I'm like, I was doing this to a mom. Oh, this is terrible. I'm a terrible human.
No, Dawn is so phenomenal. She is like in so many ways just a absolute rock to the group as far as an emotional support goes. I feel like Rain has had like huge sweeping motions, back and forth, and then you've also seen like Malvolo has I feel like Malvolo's always been like kind of like he's been in his shell, and you've kind of seen like little cracks start appearing, and then every now and then he'll like tense up, and then only very, very, very recently has that shell broken. Which, by the way, I want to also thank Becca for pointing that out and actually, giving us a chance to once again, explore that story, because that was amazing and that was so much fun. But yeah, no, there've just been so many emotional moments that have like just had everyone like with hearts in their throat, like Malvola's first face reveal. Oh, That was amazing, and even like like because it was at the moment where he revealed it to Cassandra,
Mm-hmm.
who is a player, Carla from Dum Dum Dice, who has now gone on to other things, by the way. Carla, if you're
Amazing.
watching, we miss you. We love you. Thank you so much for being a part of our story. I hope you're well. Also, hi, thanks for following. Um, but yeah, that moment where she had basically gone, look, people are looking for an undead. I am kind of in that vein. I need to get out of town. And having Malvolo sort of take off the mask and actually just in 100% heart and hand tell her not to leave was like so deep, man. Like yeah, it was just
Mm-hmm.
there are so many great moments in this series, and
You guys are killing me. You
yeah,
guys kill me
man.
all the time.
I need to go back. Because I've been dropping the ball a little bit. I need to go back and I need to actually edit the episodes properly to get rid of all the breaks and stuff, so that people can actually watch this thing. I think we've got season 1 and 2 done, but we're now in season 4. I don't think I've touched season 3 yet. So they'll come out. We'll have them, and they're all on YouTube at Dead Aussie Gamer Live if you want to catch up on these ones. But I know that Brill Chan has been watching these quite a lot recently, and I've been seeing her comments on YouTube, and just watching her journey go through it is making me like kind of relive it again. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, you've done an amazing job, and I really want to say this like in all earnest. Again, no game is perfect, but every game that I play, a piece of me changes and a piece of me gets better, for good or for worse. And I like to say that in this game, it has always been for the better. It's challenged me in so many different ways. The stories have allowed me to really explore just a whole different level of emotional characters that I can play. And it has been facilitated by someone who I think has just been absolutely phenomenal, the whole way. And your commitment to the game, your dedication to a good story, to sharing the space with these people, and to help set the stage for just all this amazing stuff has just been an inspiration as well. So I want to thank you, Jared, because you're awesome,
Oh, thank
and
you. Thank you.
you should know that. You should know I think you're awesome.
Oh, thank you. And I will say this, Michael,
Yeah.
you are amazing, and you made one of my like all-time dreams come true. Got to play with you. Like
Oh.
it's honestly been like an honor.
I feel like that's
I
an
never
easy.
had.
I feel like that's a very easy wish for me to fulfill. It's like you can play with Michael. It's like who can't? Like
Oh,
who is not allowed to play with me? Come play with me. Come have fun with me. But like I said, it's a very different thing though. Because keeping in mind, I don't play long-term campaigns with many people. Like in fact, truth be told, I don't think I've even played a long-term campaign with Dread. So there you go. I mean.
what?
No, I don't think I ever have. I think we've done a lot of one shots, and he's in
Yeah.
my Sirens and Silver game, but I don't think I've been in a long term campaign of his. Though that may be changing sometime soon. Just I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. This is just again we're talking about some stuff there, and I am in a game. Actually, I have been in a long term game with Robert. I'm playing in a private game actually. It's kind of nice to actually not
Yeah.
broadcast it, not record it. It's been a very important thing for me as well. Like doing games that aren't for people. Yeah. No worries, Odd Bandicoot. We'll see you soon. Okay.
I have a funny story.
Yeah, go on.
And I'm going to tell this to everyone.
And while we're doing that as well, don't forget, guys, if you want to ask any questions about role playing, about Rise of the Rune Lords that we've been playing, about Pathfinder, about me or Jared, throw them in chat. Throw them in chat, and we will answer them. Make sure you start them with the word question, because yeah, it helps me find them.
Watch it pops up.
Yeah.
So I remember when you were like when we were doing session 0, right? Talking about the characters. By the way, Pathfinder 2nd edition had just come out, and Becca's like, I want to play a moose person. Also, I know we've never really used a virtual tabletop, or you don't really know how to use virtual tabletops, but can we homebrew a moose person? I was like, this person is gonna break my back. But the funny story is, when Michael was talking about the character he wanted to play, Marvolo, this character, he said it out loud, and your partner who you live with was just like, don't do it. That character is cursed. Because apparently that character, like every campaign, that character has
That wasn't Malvolo.
Oh, that wasn't Marvel. I thought it was Marvel.
No. My cursed character still has not seen the light of day. I'm not I'm
Oh,
still not allowed to play him. His name is Grundy, and he's
Grundy.
and he's a plague doctor who hates clerics.
Who hates clerics? I
He
like
does.
that.
It was because he's a doctor and he believes that if everyone relies on healing spells, there's going to be a
Hmm.
disease that's going to run rampant and kill everybody because
Yeah.
it'll develop an immunity to magic and then we'll all be dead. Yeah, and he was there's still a little bit of him in Malvola because he was also a germaphobe. Which is
Oh,
where that came in from. But no,
got it.
my partner basically said to it, Michael, if you have any intention of finishing this game at all,
Don't do it.
don't use Grundy because Grundy has been 12 Grundys. Each of them
No.
each of them have a name that starts with an S. So there's
Yeah.
Silas, Sirius, Severus, Sector, Samuel, Simon, uh, Samantha, Cyril, Sybil,
Sybil. I
Sonia,
like that one.
Sonia, Sarok, who was was a Starfinder character actually.
Ooh.
Actually Salazar. Yeah, Salazar was one, and I think that's it. So each one of these Grundys was in a campaign, and each one of these
Mhm.
Grundys, the campaign ended suddenly for reasons.
Oh no.
Yeah, so that's why it was cursed. And Susan's like, "Don't do it." Like I was like,
Don't do it.
"Yeah, okay, yeah, best not." Like look, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me 3, 4, 5, 12 times. Okay, fair enough. Character's probably
Yeah.
cursed.
Like, oh, I guess we're not doing that name anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We got a question here from Reckon.
Yeah.
How do you actually get into this? I mean, my GM has his own campaign going on. The one shot was
Mhm.
for a viewer's birthday, but I did have a lot of fun yesterday. That's an interesting point. Well, if you're talking about in person, how do you get into a game? There are a lot of local game stores that do run games and the like, and usually a lot of GMs run out of their local stores. Although, of course, depending on where you are in the world and what COVID's doing to your particular area may obviously vary your effects and things. But there are a lot of places online that you can actually check out as well. In fact, there's a website that I highly recommend, mostly because I know a lot of GMs who are on that, and I know a lot of people who use it well. It's called startplaying.games. It is a great and wonderful website. Highly recommend it. And you can find a bunch of free games online. You can find a bunch of like professionals who will actually GM for you. So it's a great spot there. Or if you want to, here's the tip. If you have streamer friends who are looking at getting into D&D, validate it, right? Like say, hey, look, we have this many people who are interested in D&D. We have this many people who would like to come and watch it. And yeah, just keep watching. Tim, you start playing? Nice. Yeah, it's great. I actually promoted it like in its very, very early days because they were looking for GMs to like run campaigns and stuff like that. So I ran like a 3-parter, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. Got to promote it. Got to talk about it. Got to see everything in action. I think I'm actually still on there. I haven't actually checked my inbox in that. Hold on, wait. Let me.
What? Can you give me that website again? Just for
Start.
everyone.
Yeah, startplaying.games. Let me log in and then I'll share the link. Here we go.
There you go.
Yeah,
Start playing.
there you go. That's the link, guys. So as I said, I haven't been on it for a while. So let me just pop into there. My rates.
They have a bunch of.
Look. So I'm not gonna lie. My rates are prohibitive because I am too busy to run games.
Mhm.
So that's kind of it. Please log in with a different thing. What are you doing to me? Like just let me sign in. Is that too hard to ask? Maybe that's how I need to log in. Okay, there we go.
So McBluff has a question, just a curiosity of mine for both of you, in parentheses, and this is a bit more from a player point of view, but if you have GM insight too, I'm all ears. What do you personally consider when playing up character growth change, like with Marvolo's last session? Do you mind if I tackle this one real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So from a GM's point of view, I had a player, and this isn't actually, well, okay. So one Krut had a huge character jump. So this was the thing, right? So behind the scenes, Krut's player was also running the stream, the sound, everything. Basically everything I threw at Michael at this point, Krut was running, and also this was before like I understood how to use like Fantasy Grounds and the virtual tabletop. The virtual tabletop system has gotten much better. But Krut was like, hey man, I just want to play a barbarian. I just want to hit things. I don't really want to talk. It's cool. And we were like, yeah, sure. Like, I want to have you here. It's amazing. I'm getting to play with more people from Australia. So I'm having a blast. So Krut was like, I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to kind of build relationships. I want to just kind of be a barbarian and barbarian it up. Cool. We were having a blast. There's a session where Dawn, no, not Dawn. Sorry. It was Cassandra, run by Carla. Her character was a bones oracle and was decaying. That's part of their curse. They decay. And she uses perfumes to hide the smell of decay, of necrosis. In the fight, they were getting attacked by these giant hornets, and the hornets were just specifically attract to Carla's Cassandra's smell. She smelled like perfumes, and they wanted to attack her. So in the fight, everyone realized they're just kind of chasing Cassandra, no one else. Cassandra then took her perfume, got rid of it. Krut, we got back to camp, got back to the Sandpoint, and Krut was like, hey, I want to go find perfume. And everyone was like, okay. And Krut found perfume, bought the perfume, and then went to Cassandra and was like, and in character was just like, hey, I got you this. And gave her perfume. And this was before he ended, and we knew it was coming, like the ending was coming for Krut. But that was a character change. That was a dramatic character change from like Krut smash, like the Incredible Hulk, to Krut has emotions that we did not realize. And it was like a very powerful thing, because at the end, when we were losing Krut, Cassandra and Carla both had these like visceral reactions to like, no, we can't lose this. We just started building this friendship, and I don't want to lose it. And that's how you know, like, that's a growth and a change. It doesn't have to be like these over the top massive changes. Like if your character just is stoic and then has that moment of, I'm going to be a little bit more emotional, that is a dramatic change. And your players, as other players, right? So point of view, other players in the GM is going to suddenly have this like, wait, what? Oh snap, that's crazy. Or like the very pious character has like a moment where we all have it, right? Like they're like, God, why are you testing me like this? They have that moment, and it could just be that statement, like, God, why, like, Phasma, why are you testing me like this? I like, this is rough. That's amazing. And in movies, and a lot of times you see these like dramatic, over the top things, but those aren't the things that like we see them because we need to see them in movies or in books. But in reality, like someone buying you a cheeseburger when you don't got the cash changes everything. So sometimes it's the little things. It's Krut buying someone perfume. It's Marvolo taking his mask off at a moment and just holding someone's hand saying, I don't want you to go. Please stay. Like, look at me. Look at my character. That's dramatic. That's like, it'd be one thing, it's Marvolo removing the mask is dramatic versus Marvolo jumping in like a pig pen and fighting a pig. Like I feel like that's too dramatic on the opposite end of the spectrum, right? Like that's like completely out of left field. Like suddenly, like, that's when the GM questions the player, like, hey, are we character shifting? Like, does Marvolo no longer have, fear of germs and cleanliness? Like, where are we going here? But yeah, so that's from my point of view as a GM. Like the little things are the big things versus, but also I'm gonna write that down. Marvolo has to now jump into a pig pen
and find something. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, look, I agree. I think small moments, small, very personal moments are a lot better than big swathing changes. I think when I consider planning character growth, I guess for me it's if I want to commemorate something that is significant to my character, right? Then I will do something symbolic, or I will consider something symbolic. For me, having my character when Malvolio first revealed himself to Cassandra, Cassandra in a way was revealing herself to Malvolio by saying, "I am undead. I am afraid. I am fearful for my life." And she didn't know who she could trust or rely on. And Malvolio in that moment needed to decide, like, how much is this trust worth? And Malvolio had never revealed anyone, revealed his face to anyone before. And so he wanted her to know that this was safe. This was this moment. And for him, and for me, that decision came from, I didn't, the options were, I could try to talk to Cassandra and just calm her down, which would be ridiculous because Malvolio is not good at talking. The second would be in just letting her go and just allowing Carla to like lose faith in the group. So that was why that option came up. It was like, this is a way from there's no stronger way for Malvolio to say, I trust you, you can trust me, than to do that. Recently, with the whole thing with AJ's character Cecilia, it came about because we have now gone, like, we are now in book 4 of the adventure. We have gone on this epic journey. It has gone a long, long way from the town of Sandpoint, from where we had come. Malvolio had shut down at the start of the adventure. He did not want any interactions and stuff like that. He didn't want to leave his house. He was mourning the death of his best friend, his only friend in many ways. Like, up until that point, the other members of the party were just people who happened to share a very unique origin story, but there was no real strong connection. I mean, even Rain had tried to pull Malvolio out of his rut many times and had never given up. And this was that moment where he realized that when Cecilia disappeared, that was the moment. That was imagine if I had been back in that house. No one spoke to me. I was left alone. I didn't interact with anyone. I just sat still, sat idle for that long. I would have just disappeared and no one would have been the wiser. And for Malvolio, that was a moment of breaking out of that ideal, that considerable sloth, which was a very inherent part of his character, needed to be left in a way behind, and that he symbolized by putting the mask down and saying, I am willing to face, literally and figuratively, what is ahead. Because I don't want to just disappear. I don't want to just fade away and, not know with any certainty what would happen. Those moments there are reactionary. You can't plan them. What you can do is you can decide how much of yourself and your character you want to put into those moments. And the loss of a friend is a great time to put those into the game. What? Wait, people get paid to GM? Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, I'm a paid GM. Yeah, I mean, Jared refuses money, but he would be a paid GM otherwise.
No, I love doing this. So
we've gone over that, but I would still.
Michael hates me because I'm pretty sure I'm fucking his books up. Excuse my French.
You are a little bit. I do put. To be fair though, I do put it all. I do put most of it back into the channels, back into this show specifically. So it does go places. Plus I don't tell any of my players this, but I also bump up their income because of Jared's kindness. So the other players also get the kickback. It's not me. So there you go. But yeah, people do get paid to GM, and you know what's really gonna blow your mind? I get paid to play. So there you go. Yeah, people pay me appearance fees. So it's a thing. It's a thing, dude. I ran a first edition Pathfinder campaign over the summer for my ex's kids and neighbors. Nice. I love Pathfinder first edition. That's amazing.
Question for both of you.
Okay, go on. Yeah, sorry.
Tell Tina. Question
Hi,
for
Tina.
both of you. As you've GM'd over the years, how has your ability to improvise changed? What does the scale of prep work versus on the fly look now compared to when you started? That's a good question.
All right, I think I'll take the first one on this one.
Please and thank you.
Okay, so my background before I started doing Twitch and stuff like that was as an actor and entertainer. So improv was always something that I was trained in before I went into and even learned how to play Dungeons and Dragons before. The reason why I love it so much is because of how much I enjoy things like improv and the like. When I began, I always thought it was about me. Center stage, me. How do I improv? What's the quickest and cleverest thing that I can think of? When I realized that after a period of time, I was not the most important person at the table, and that by me improvising so much, it was undermining the other players. That probably for me was the biggest. That was probably the biggest thing I'd learned is that being clever doesn't mean you have to be clever. And anyone who's actually role played with me in a professional show knows that every now and then I'll actually slide little ideas to players and stuff like that. I'll actually just say it's like this is like I think AJ was a really good one because she came in as an investigator and needed information, and she didn't have any of the context of what had happened in the series previously. And heaven forbid if she had to try and memorize everything that had happened. So sometimes I turn around and I'm just like, I whispered something to her. It's like, you might piece together these two bits of information from the story we had previously told you. And then she would say it on stream and stuff like that. And she'd be like, but what if this? And then she pieces it together. And then the glory and the attention goes to her character, which is more appropriate than if Malvolo sat there and just sort of stood on Cecilia's toes all the time. So that's what I learned, I guess, from when I started improvising to where I am now, is patience and, understanding that I don't need to reflexively improv,
Yeah. I have, I could say, on my end, it depends on the campaign I'm running, right? So like, let's say we're talking like, let's say I'm doing like let's say I'm doing like a convention. Conventions are all improv. It's like 90% improv because you never know who's going to sit down at your table. Like you should know your campaign, right? Like read it through. Know that they're going from, taking the milk to the cheese factory, and that's the premise. And they're going to get attacked by some, goblins, and that's the premise. But up until that point, it's all improv because it's a con, or if you're doing something like a one shot, most of that's improv. Besides knowing that you have to take the milk from the town to the factory, right? That's mostly improv because it's very fast. It's gonna fly by. Campaigns, like long running campaigns, I usually prep 2 hours or about 2 hours of prep for my games. This one I prep a little bit more because it's higher priority, but it's about 2 hours. Improv comes when I have Marvolo look at me and go, hey, I have a craft check of a plus 1 billion because that's Marvolo. And there are these bones sitting around. Can I make like a little stand to have Rain, our like Alcys moose person, jump on so that she can attack the flying monster? That's improv. That's like, I guess there's nothing in the rules that say we can't do that.
There's a bone ladder.
Yeah, bone ladder. So let's make this work. That's the improv. Or my favorite is, what's the name of this random NPC that's walking by? That's improv. That's a lot of improv because that's
micro improvs. You gotta keep an eye on them. Yeah, you gotta keep an eye on them. That's amazing. Yes. No, improv. Improv is a collaborative effort in D&D. Absolutely. And you get inspired by the people that you're with. So yeah, just always stay fluid. And never, here's the thing. Actually, this is another good one as well, because, while we're talking about improv, let's talk about railroads real quick. For those of you who don't understand the term, railroading is where as a GM, you've got your set idea for your story, and it just goes along the railroad. A good GM knows that you will have a railroad, but your players will never be able to see the edges of your rail. That's a good GM. That's my analogy. Anyway. We got a question here from Kerry H. Author. Question. When creating a story, do you ever get an idea and think, oh, this would make a great book idea? And if you ever had the time and energy, would you write one? I was creating one for a character for a campaign with some friends, and it snowballed into a ton of world building. Next thing I know, I have an outline. Well, it sounds like you have had an amazing story to share, and it's great because that is what we do. Fundamentally, RPGs are storytelling, and it's just a different method of it. Novels, comic books, D&D. It's all a method of sharing tales, sharing the. This is what I like to call neo-bardism, where we're the
Yeah, I like that.
21st century bards. That's what we are. We share stories. So, do I ever get the idea of creating books with my adventures? 100%. There are definitely some stories that I think I would have loved or would love to record for posterity. I mean, in a way, that's why I do all my games on Twitch, because it's a good way to record it for forever. To write it into a book does take a lot of time and a lot of effort. It takes a lot of skill as well. My partner actually is a writer and editor. That's actually her degree and stuff like that. So she's absolutely wonderful. But she will tell you better than anyone that my writing is shit. Like I'm definitely an orator. I love speaking. I enjoy talking about stories. I could recount very vividly a lot of details about a tale, but as soon as I put it to paper, it's like I become a 3-year-old. It's like it's just how I am. Yeah.
I've done it.
You've written a book?
Terry. Well, no, I mean I've had stuff published, but that's for my major and for my school, right? Like, so I've had schooling stuff done, but I've actually wrote a short story based on a few characters that I came up with. No, it's not published. It's actually on my phone in like, like you get the notebook app, and like I sat there and like I'll be like yeah, I have like this, it's a short story about like basically just like how heroes come together, and then I was thinking about like turning that into like maybe a campaign, like the short story I would send everyone, be like, hey, this is how your characters met up, and then like play through those characters. But I feel like I'm now limiting my players because like maybe they want to do so. That's
but again,
actually
that goes back to the railroad I was saying. It's like you can have the railroad, but as long as they don't see the edges, that's fine. It's really interesting, and I always describe it as this. I can always tell when someone's got me on a railroad because everything suddenly becomes cardboard. If I want to talk to someone and they only have like a preset series of responses, or if I look for something and it's just not there, but there's no sense as to why it wouldn't be there, that's when you're hitting the edges of the railroad. But if you talk to people and like for example, if I write a story about Romeo and Juliet, it doesn't matter if you go talk to the guy at the newspaper stand, and the guys at the newspaper stand may give me information that is relevant to the major plot anyway. But because it's so seamlessly added into the adventure, I don't see the edges of the rail saying that no, the newspaper guy is not important to this quest line. It's no, you can talk to this guy. This is a part of the world. You can interact with it. It fools the players into thinking you're a lot more prepared than you are using improv. Yeah, there you go. Malachis is writing a story based on my world. Yes, you are. It's a very interesting part of the world, and one I am very eager to read. Kerry, I'm the opposite. Hence why a writer, when I go to speak, I stumble and trip over my tongue and forget words. Hilarious mess. Yeah, we all have skills. You were going to say something about Malachisa.
I love Malachis.
Yeah, I know.
I appreciate you. Malachis is my biggest supporter, and I love you forever. Thank you so much. Carrie, I actually trip over my words all the time because I always tell people I speak 2 languages fluently. English and bad English was my first language, and English is my second. I actually have a funny story. I couldn't figure out the word for lower back, and I referred to it as the tramp stamp area. I was in the conversation, like role playing, and I was like, yeah, you get like it looks like a scar appears on your body in the and I was just like, the tramp stamp area. And she looks at me and she goes, the lower back, like and I was like, yeah, the lower back. That's the word I was looking for. And she was just like, of all the, she gave me that like, Yeah. So I trip over words all the time. I
It's
love
really,
it.
it's really funny. I can actually see Tina's face when you did that.
Yeah. No, she was there, and I did it to her, and she was like, she was just like, why of all the words to use? Oh, actually, Tina has a question for you, Michael, specifically.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's hear it.
All right, question for Michael. What is it like as a GM to be a player and not know the behind the scenes working that I do for your campaign? I think that's a cool question.
Fucking stressful. Like
don't make it easy.
I'm not gonna lie. And here is some more behind the scenes, like Dag chewing out Jared. Jared fell victim very early on. I want to say maybe late book 1, early book 2. Jared fell victim to one of the biggest mistakes any GM running a module can make. And that is, and Jared's going to laugh as soon as I say this, it is I've run this game so many times that I don't need to read the book, says the Jared. I don't need to read the book. And there's me going, I have run Rise of the Rune Lords 13 times and I still read the book. And I get it, and here's the thing. I understand. We have life, we have pressures, we have commitments and stuff like that. And you guys know that more than anything, I value people's time more than anything in the world, right? If people don't do stuff because they don't have time, that's one thing. When someone looks me dead in the eye and says, "I got this. I don't need to prep," I think that guy's from New York. That's what I think. No, that for me was like very, very stressful. And here's why. Because there are moments where I know particular things. Like I know distances in this region of Varisia because I've literally had characters from multiple games run up and down it. So when Jared turns around and says it takes you 2 days to get to Turtleback Ferry, I'm sitting there going,
no.
2 days to get to Turtleback Ferry, you say? Ah. It's really weird. Let's take a quick look at this, shall we? And you know what? And here's the thing. I didn't call him out on stream for it because, again, like I said, I'm a professional and I don't call stuff out on stream. But oh boy, shit, am I going to call you out here? Check this out. Here is the map of Varisia. Let me make this a bit smaller here. There we go. Okay, here's the map of Varisia. There it is. There it is. You know what? It's hold on. Let me do this better. Let me do this better. I can do this much better. Hold on. Here we go. This is the time. Tina, look what you've started.
Bright red. I'm gonna turn my light. I need more light because I'm turned like beet red.
Yeah. Look what Tina. This is what Tina started. Tina started this. All right. Hold on. So we got there. There we go. That's. All right. Is that gonna show up? No, it's not gonna show up. All right. Hold on. Come on. Just show up for me. That's all I want you to do. Nope, doesn't want to show up. Oh, it's being cheeky. All right, I'll try one more time.
Oh, is it the one with the exact like it shows the miles underneath it? Because I could totally find that one for you.
It does. All right, come on. Oh my God, it's just not working. Okay, hold on. You might be getting off. Oh, okay, you know what? I'm gonna risk it. I'm risking it. I'm gonna do a display capture.
Yes.
Ugh. Okay. I hate display captures. All right. Here we go.
Be amazing.
Here we go. Okay. There it is. All right. Here we go. This is. We don't look at what's on Dag's messy desktop. There we go. Okay. Here we go. So there's Varisia. Here it is. Look at it. Beautiful countryside. All right. Now I want to point out that Jared. And there's even a scale here. Look, so this is 120 miles. This is 120 miles here from there to there. Okay, so Jared reckons that a journey from Sandpoint, which is down over here, all the way past
up a mountain. By the way,
up a mountain. No, you could go up a mountain. You don't have to. You can just follow the road, right? So all the way across this road. Past 3 cities, mind you. We did 3 cities. And then up this way past the river all the way here to Turtleback Ferry was like 2 days. The actual trip itself I want get out a calculator. I'm gonna do some maths with you here. Let's do this. You ready? You got a calculator?
I got one.
All right. So 54.
Yep.
Plus 182.
Yep.
Plus 113.
Yep.
Plus 64.
Yep.
Plus 82. All right. What do we have?
We are 5 under 500. So 495.
495. Okay. So 495 divided by 2 is 200.
47.
And 47.
247.
We traveled 247 miles a day. Okay? 247 miles a day. Now, let's divide this a little bit. Let's say that we were traveling for like 18 hours a day. So now let's divide 200 and what was it? 240
47.
247. Let's divide 247 by 18.
That's 14.
14. So we are traveling 14 miles an hour constantly by horseback.
On foot.
On foot. Yeah, that's right. We're on foot.
On foot.
So yeah, 14. Yeah, we're traveling 14 miles an hour on foot. Which was just like, but they're just as we are freaking hopping our way.
Yeah.
And that doesn't include forests and jungles and rivers and stuff like that. So that for me, like I said, so to answer Tina's question, right? How do I feel as a player having relinquished the GM seat? It is important to remember that the stress is there. And there are definitely moments for it. But here's the important thing. It is Jared's position to arbitrate the game and build the world, not my role to correct him. A very young Michael would have absolutely corrected him, 100%. Would have just been like, hey, this is wrong. Yeah. But as I got older and as I started becoming more experienced, I realized that does it add to the fun of the game if I sit there and tell Jared he needs to take this long to get us to Turtleback Ferry? Does it add to the game for me to be right and superior because I know it takes this long instead? Of course not. If it doesn't add to the game, if it doesn't add to the enjoyment, shut the hell up. You know what I mean? This is literally the best thing, and this is the thing. As a GM, yeah, it does stress me out a little bit because ultimately I book in for the immersion. I book in for the thing. If something takes 2 days to get somewhere, then in my head I place that place, 2 days away. It means it takes 2 days to get back to Sandpoint if I need to. And it changes how the world interacts. Like, if Sandpoint's in danger while I'm in Turtleback Ferry, no problem. I can get there in 2 days. Hell, if I push, I could probably get there within a day, right? But if it's like, like close to 4 or 5 days or even a week away, if Sandpoint gets into danger, that becomes a whole other thing. We're not going to make it in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It changes the scope of stuff. So while that's my feelings, that's for me to deal with, not for Jared to deal with, not for me to bring the whole players and the other group down by questioning Jared or by throwing shade in his direction during a game. That's an awful thing to do. And like I said, something you should never really do. If your GM says or does something incorrect during a game, shut the fuck up. Unless it's going to literally determine life or death, in which case, maybe say something. Let it leave it, let it lie, and wait till everything's done. Approach the GM privately and say, hey, by the way, did you mean to do this? Because I think or I believe that this is actually the way that it should be. And that's exactly what I did with Jared. We waited, we went home, and I said, hey, Jared, when was the last time you looked at the map? And he's like, oh, I'm fine. I memorized it. It's all good. I'm like, cool, because, that's a hefty trip for 2 days. And then he had a look at it and he went, that is a hefty trip for 2 days. We both sat there and we're just like, yeah, it is. I'm like, now look, we don't need to do stuff, but yeah, that map is gorgeous. I've been sketching stuff in my story all day, and I want to make a more detailed map digitally somehow. Maybe I'll add it to the. If you have a chance to, Carrie, go and check out my friend Nate from WASD20. He is an amazing map maker, and definitely has some great and awesome pointers for all things map making. I will, WASD20. It's awesome. I'm also playing a game with him as well, so yeah, go check out his channel. It's full of some awesome stuff.
I do have to say I looked this up. The average human running speed in miles per hour is 8.
Yeah.
So you guys were doing almost double the average human running
For
speed
18 hours straight.
for 18 hours straight.
Every day.
Every day for 2 full days.
Yeah. With a gnome and a halfling.
A gnome and a halfling. That's right. Well, I figured Alcease would carry them.
Oh yeah, maybe.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, perfect sense.
But again, like I said, sometimes that stuff doesn't matter. Correcting rules and stuff like that, and this goes into like, I guess the rules lawyer side of things. Like it's okay to be right about stuff, but it's also okay to be wrong about stuff. Because the thing is if you are, because some of the best stuff I think that has ever happened has occurred at my game because we've misinterpreted the rules. And I appreciate when my players are very honest with me and they turn around and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry I made this mistake here and there. I'll very rarely backtrack. I'll very rarely go. I'll say, no, it's fine. You weren't trying to deceive me to get like extra stuff. You made a mistake. Let's keep going because I think what you did was cool anyway. And it's the same thing with me as a player. Is if me as a player, it's like, well, we got to Turtleback Ferry in 2 days. Cool, we get to do awesome stuff here. Was the trip boring? Not at all. Jared took the time. We had a couple of little side encounters. It was great. That's literally it. Hey, Sandberg, what's up? Welcome in, buddy. We're just having
a burger and some fries.
Sandburger with fries. Yeah, we're having a nice chill session today. We are sitting here, me and Jared, and we're talking about RPGs. We're answering questions from the audience. And we've just announced that we are going on a bit of a hiatus from Rise of the Rune Lords while the players are dealing with real life shenanigans. But yeah, there you go. So if you have any questions, ask them in chat. What about you, Jared? I guess how have you enjoyed? I mean, you've already said like how much of an honor it is and yada yada. And I get that. How has this Rise of the Rune Lords run differed from other runs of Rise of the Rune Lords that you've played?
I have to say this as
oh, you can insult your other players. That's fine. I don't care that they're in chat.
I'm gonna insult the shit out of them.
Okay, just
it's okay. There is a difference between the caliber of players that have shown up on your campaign on Rise of Rune Lords versus like when I play my home campaign. And that's also just me personally, like the way I put myself in the scenario. Here I'm more, it's very strict, right? Like we're focused. We have a tight 3 hours to get stuff done. And the quality, like, geez, I've never been emotionally attached to any of my characters, right? Any of the characters I'm GMing for. Okay, I'm emotionally attached to all these characters. I legitimately don't want to kill people. And again, like touching back on what we talked about earlier, that's why I killed the shit out of Kolodi, because he's not going to die. Yeah. I'll just kill the shit out of him.
So I'm just waiting for that one day where his core actually breaks and it's like he's actually gone and his personality's disappeared and it's like, oh, Jared, you broke him. You broke him too much. Be it for me.
You'll hurt me forever, Michael, with that one. But like the caliber of role player and like how everyone interacts, and it's so cool. I see everyone stays in character. Like yeah, we have those moments where we break and have these crazy like dad puns. You guys kill me with the dad puns. But versus like my other campaigns where it's with my friends, like even my own my channel, we are gamers. So we play as gamers. So there's like the side conversation that will happen. There will be the jokes that will happen. We'll break tension, which is natural, with humor. That is that's how it works. So there's a lot of humor. We've had a running gag about one of our players. He had a green velvet sack, like dice sack. And now it's a running gag on my channel. Like we will like me, even as the GM, and I think I pushed this also. I legitimately will say, like, be like, oh, Zach Sack takes 20 points of damage. and everyone will laugh. So it's like I'm playing with my friends versus I'm playing here with role players, and it's crazy. I love you guys, and it's changed the campaign. Like there's like I don't know, like a heaviness to this campaign. Because in my mind, Rise of Rewards was never heavy. It was like an introduction. It was a like you kill goblins in the beginning, then you fight ghosts, and it's kind of like monster of the week concept, right? Because like the way the book works out, it's very monster of the week. Like this section we're fighting goblins, and this section we're fighting undead, and this section we're fighting giants. It's very like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like this season's all about goblins. This season's all about hill giants. But with you guys, it flows and I love it. Like I love the challenge. And the challenge is really like also being believable, because we are playing a fantastical game, right? Like, oh, there's a giant moose lady who shoots lightning out of hands.
Can I also say that Becca is definitely one of the powerhouses of like that very kind of realistic role play. Like, man,
yes.
Sometimes I've had to check in with Becca every now and then. Like I've just been like, hey, just a quick vibe check. Are you doing okay? She's like, yeah, I'm fine. Why? I'm just like,
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, no, she's a pro. Same with AJ as well. Like AJ and Becca were like pros. I play caricatures. You know, I play comic characters really, really well. But like, you know, getting to see like, you know, like the real raw emotion that they played. Oh my God, it's just.
Yeah, it's crazy out there.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad it's different, because the thing is, it's not about better or worse either. Like, you know, you don't have to, and this goes to everyone in chat. Let's talk very quickly while, because I think Sam's got a question as well, but I'll give you some time to write it down. Here is my hot take. Here's my hot take. DAG hot takes. Let's talk the Matt Mercer effect. Now, let's start with one thing, and that is, I don't want to call it the Matt Mercer effect. What I'm going to call it on my channel is the professional GM effect. The pro GM effect is something that has come about because we live in an area, we live in a world now where there are, of course, professional GMs. There are professional role players. There are people out there who are skilled at the art of role playing, because that's what it has become. It has become an art form. And for me, there is this stigma where there is a right and a wrong way to play. And the right way to play is like all of these performers. That is not correct. It is a fun way to play. 100%. Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. It is an amazing and fun and interesting and engaging way to play. But it is not the right way to play, nor is it a wrong way to play. Quite the contrary. The only way to play wrong, because there is no right way to play, but there is a wrong way to play. The only way to play wrong, in my opinion, is if you are playing at the expense of the other people at your table. That is the only time you will ever be playing the game wrong. You could get the rules completely wrong. You could have your character idea in your mind and never actually roleplay. You could just say, yeah, Smithy walks into the bar and buys a drink. Okay, cool. Smithy's really grateful that he gave him the information. Smithy tells him that he's looking for an artifact? Yeah, I'm looking for an artifact. Right?
Yeah.
That level of roleplay is not wrong. It's fine. But if as soon as Smithy goes, oh, is that the quest giver? I'm going to stab him in the eye. Yeah, okay. Smithy is doing something wrong at that point. Because Smithy doesn't care that the other players want to go on the quest. Smithy doesn't care that the GM has put in time for the quest. And Smithy is just being an absolute prat. So, you know, that's the only way, in my opinion. What is your take? What is your take, Jared, on the pro GM effect? And how do you feel about people who believe that you have to play these like hard role play games to be the best?
I think for our industry, it's something you have to take into effect. There has to be a certain level, right? Like, so if you're trying to get big, right? Like, I don't know what your concept of big is, right? But like, let's say you're like, I want 1,000 followers, right? Like, let's or 500 followers. People, there's two things. There's the people who will follow you because they are looking for that pro GM effect. So if I'm doing the pro GM effect and I'm playing with all role plays and this is only role play, you might get those followers. Personally, I hate the pro GM effect. I feel it's ruined everything that I love about role playing games, because you're supposed to want to like sit with your friends, whether it's on a computer or in your local public library or at your friend's mom's basement, eat chips and literally tell a collective story. And I always say this, no one ever remembers the nat 20 roll, but they remember the story that came to that nat 20 roll. And no one remembers how awesome of a professional GM that person was. They remember the story. And I have these stories where literally I'm in my apartment. It's like 3 of my friends. We're drinking a few beers. We're role playing, and we have this amazing story. And then when we tell these stories to our friends, they're like, "Oh, is that what D&D is? I want to play." And then they come and play, and we're just hanging out. And they're like, "This isn't the professional DMs I've seen online. This isn't what I expected." They all have a grand time, but the professional DM is bonk. It's have fun with it. And if you want to play heavy role play, do it up. Play like I personally love. A few of my players have stressed to me they want to do more heavy role play. So I'm looking at Vampire the Masquerade, which I don't think it's called that anymore, but it's from White Wolf, and I know this isn't.
I think it's still called Vampire the Masquerade.
Is it?
I feel like it is.
I know they've gone through multiple editions, but that's like heavy role play. Like it emphasizes role play versus combat, right? So that's the. But when people come to me and they're like, "Oh, what do you think of like the professional thing?" And then we see it on TV, right? Like we see, Jack Black is starting his own channel to do a D&D thing, and I'm like, yeah, man, like I'm glad I could play this out in the open and not get beat up anymore. Because back in like elementary school, you played D&D, you got beat up. That was kind of the situation. You didn't tell people. I actually have a funny story. My son's godfather, and me, we met in college, and we were hanging out one day, and in my backpack was a pack of Magic the Gathering, because I was gonna go play Magic the Gathering at my local game store, but I wasn't gonna tell anyone. So I'm in college, I open my backpack, and he sees it, and he like closes my bag, and he leans over, and he's like, "Yo, bro, you play Magic?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why? What? Like, is there a problem with that?" And he goes, "Nah, I play Magic too. Yo, you want to come through and play Magic?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then like it was, but here's the funny part: we were doing this like it was like a drug deal. It was like, "Yo, don't talk about that out loud. Don't talk about that out loud. No, we don't talk about that."
Well, RPGs were originally an underground culture. It's actually why I think a lot of people still kind of treat it very much like a secret clique, like it's a secret club, kind of thing.
Silly.
It's not silly. It's becoming more popular, which is great. And for what it's worth, Critical Role has made massive headways into making it more accessible, and I am forever grateful to the Critical Role team and to Matt Mercer, all of them. In fact, that's what I really wish that was something. I wish that was what the Matt Mercer effect meant. I wish that the Matt Mercer meant being an ambassador to something that you love and to change it forever in that way. That would be amazing if it was used for that. Look, I completely agree. I mean, I think to touch on what Tim said earlier on, which is did it ruin everything? I think everything might be a bit strong, but it does bring the mood down a bit when someone has expectations of you as a GM that have nothing to do with the experiences that you've had. Like I have expectations of Jared, of course. Like I expect that Jared is going to be welcoming, inviting, and pleasant on my table. Flat out, that's an expectation. What I don't expect is Jared to come in dressed in costume and set musical ambience and then put on funny accents for every single freaking shopkeeper that we come across. I don't expect that, and that's I think is important, is to label out your expectations after you have your sessions there, or as you're meeting a group, and make them reasonable. That's literally it. Fairy Tina says it's nice to see different GM styles to get inspiration from. There's some nice things we've incorporated into our game that Jared saw on someone else's game. Collaboration is great, just don't make it about competition. I agree with that. There is definitely some competition. We just don't talk about it because it's very weird, and we live in an industry that we're trying to build. Like, there is no like university degree you can go into to say, here is how you become a D&D Twitch streamer. I mean, like, what's his name? Freaking Ninja has just started a masterclass on how to be a Twitch streamer. Yeah.
No.
He did. I was like, that's, I mean, look, kudos to you if you're a game streamer. I feel like that's going to be very helpful. But I'm like, I reckon I'll do that masterclass and all I'm going to be doing is down like several $100s. So, yeah, because I think it's a different world. It's like, it's, creating a brand, creating an image, social media presence, all that sort of stuff. It's unique, it's different, and you compete with people. I will tell you one thing: I do not stream on Thursday. Why do I not stream on Thursday? That's Critical Role Day. That's literally my only truth, right? Like that's the thing, is whether or not I like to admit it, whether or not I'll ever admit it. It's a competition. It is, and I don't want to compete with Critical Role, so I don't put anything on there. That's how it works.
Yeah.
I also try and make sure that I know when all my friends are streaming, so either I can raid into them, or I can avoid their time slots, because, again, whether or not we want it to be, there is a level of competition that's there. It's just part of it. Me and Rob compete in a couple of places, but we do different things at the time. So I'll run a game while Rob's doing Robert Reads, or while he's doing Twitch Tales, I'll be doing something else. That's kind of how it is. Yes, you did hear Matt Mercer, by the way, Nemo. Yes, you did. Yeah, Matt Mercer's amazing. Honestly, like, seriously, like, I like Matt Mercer. Believe it or not, you know what? Here's a secret. I have only watched a handful of episodes of Critical Role. And not because I don't enjoy it, just because I'm so far behind. I'm like, if it's iconic, it's on YouTube. It's like best moments of Critical Role, and I watch those. And I'm like, here, cool. And then I'll maybe watch those episodes in full. But, and the new Vox Machina series, because that's freaking hilarious.
That. Oh man, that was so good.
It was great. But I actually fell in love with Matt Mercer on a series he did called The Grey Company. Did you watch that one?
No.
Yeah.
That's going on the list now.
Yeah, so many people hold on, let me see.
I have a hard throwback.
Force Grey was the name. Yeah, the Force Grey.
If you want to see Matt Mercer before, I guess he was Matt Mercer, or like still in the process of coming to his own, there's a line of movies called Mythica. They are hysterical. Not hysterical as like they're not meant to be funny, but they are good. You could see they're definitely written in the concept of like a GM writing their first live action movie. Like they got like a few of their friends together and they were like, hey, we should make this movie. And they did like 5 or 6 of them, and they kickstarted it, but he's in, like, he role plays like the big bad at the very end, like the last 2 episodes. And it's hysterical because it's Matt Mercer before you could see he was like coming into his own, right? Like that's that's what it is. Oh, goodness gracious.
Are you late for work? Have I made you late for things?
No, that was my loving mother likes to call me on Sundays to just have a general chat. And I say, Mom, hey, can you please call me after like 12:30? And I think she thinks I mean like 12:30, like Antarctic time. I don't know.
Well, maybe she thinks you're in Australia.
Maybe. I think I would love to go to Australia one day. It's probably going to be a lot safer than America soon, because I don't know if you heard about this. With everything else going on in the universe, our small little blue marble, it's going to rain spiders here on the East Coast. I'm a big dude, 260 pounds, used to box, MMA fight, like all the mess, right? Terrified of spiders. My little brother loves spiders. I will kill scorpions, centipedes, pick them up with my bare hands, throw them out. I got no beef with that, right? Toads, snakes, don't care. I have my wife, and I know, right? Like there's like we are living in the world of gender norms are being broken, and that's great and wonderful. I am a 260-pound grown man who works with heavy machinery, and if there is a spider in my house, I have to have my wife come kill it. Like I can't go near it. Like I get scared and I like move away. I don't scream. I leave. I'm like, I'm not gonna deal with this. I can't be here. And now it's gonna rain spiders. So I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna move to Australia where it's safer than raining spiders.
I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. We do have. Well, that being said, we do have migrating spiders.
Like they go on vacation. Like they
Yeah,
take a
yeah,
little
yeah.
holiday?
Like if it like as it gets hot, as it gets really hot out, they try to come inside.
What?
Yeah,
Right.
that's why every year you have to we have to actually pay for there's like a big thing where you have to actually have like people come out to your house and like make sure that it's sealed up from spiders. You're welcome.
I couldn't. I couldn't. In my oh my god. We have oh no. Mm-mm. But by the way, so Dawn didn't know this. I have a terrible fear of spiders, and Dawn's like, I'm playing Nexian, and she has a spider friend, and I was just like, oh god.
Oh god, why?
I was like, I don't want to deal with this.
Amazing. Yes, I couldn't find the exact episode that I had watched earlier on. Like I was just looking and seeing like Matt Mercer has done so much. Finding a single episode of anything is I should have realized out the gate that it was futile. But I thought maybe I'd try. Maybe I'd find it the way that I did before. I just hit Google and I went Matt Mercer D&D, and I was like, nope, no chance. But anyway, I digress. Yeah.
Sandberg has Sandberg X Fries is talking about they want to get into streaming.
Okay, cool.
They want to get into streaming and want to know any like tips and tricks. Yes, I have like 5 tips and tricks that will make your life better. Don't do it right after you have a massive life change, right? So these are all my mistakes. I started my podcast literally like the week after I had my first son. So I'm running on no sleep, and then I'm like, hey, I should definitely start a podcast because that's the right thing to do. 2, you're going to fail a lot, like at whatever you're doing, and it's okay to fail. Failing is great, because we all know practice makes perfect, but that's the lie. Practice just makes you better. The next thing is don't blow a ton of money, right? Like, so I know a lot of people, they're like, I want to start streaming, and then they spend like thousands upon that. And if you got the money, do what you got to do, right? But like, I don't got the money. So get a better webcam. I'm using the Logitech HD 1080p little webcam, plugs into your computer. It's fine. It does its job. Don't blow a ton of money, right? Like you're starting out. And do it with people you love. Don't start streaming with like randos, because you'll be sad. That's the thing. And last but not least, and this is my only piece of advice. You're going to love what you do, and it's going to be your baby, right? So you're going to grow your channel. You're going to put time. You're going to spend nights, days working on your channel, because Michael's here because he hustled. He spent years hustling to get to his position of greatness, and like long nights. Like Michael doesn't sleep. It's right now 11:32 p.m. and he's here hanging out with me for him. So, and he has a game in the morning. I know he has a game in the morning. Don't lie to me. I know you got a game in the morning.
That's true, but that's just could just be because I like you.
Oh, I appreciate that, but like you're still working, so you're not gonna sleep, and you're gonna get these moments. And I had this where I felt my team didn't care as much as I cared, and I realized they care. Like they do care. They will always help. The difference is you're going to be busting your hump a little harder than everyone else, and that's normal because it's your baby, and you just got to keep that mindset. They care, they love you, they want to see you succeed. All your friends want to see you succeed, and if you got a friend who doesn't want to see you succeed, that's not a friend, that's an enemy. And then use that use them to push your stuff. Be like, hey man, look at how bad we did. You should put this on your social media so that they can make fun of you, and then it spreads to their people, and then all of a sudden people start coming to see your stuff for not the right reason, but also get your numbers up. That's the trick. There's no bad press. I mean, there is terrible press.
Look, okay, I'm everything up until that point, I'd say is pretty solid. Like, bad press is bad press. Don't do bad press. Bad press will definitely kill you and sink you in this kind of thing. Yeah. But
I'd say something stupid.
But look, okay, yeah. As I think, as Jared says, number one is don't try to be someone else. There is like the thing about trying to be someone else is that person's already around. You know, you trying to be Matt Mercer or you trying to be Critical Role, like nothing. So I've had a bunch of people actually. So here's actually the thing. I have given advice to so many streamers in the internet space, like so many. In fact, AJ Winters of Winter's Tales, before she started streaming, was actually introduced to me by one of my players, and she was a fellow Perth streamer, so she was looking at getting into D&D and stuff, and I remember I met her on my birthday, actually, and I went out and had a meeting with her, because, again, I also work and bust my ass off. And I said, hey, you know, rather than starting your stream straight away, let's introduce you to some people, get your chops up, see how they do things, and then decide what works and doesn't work for you and figure that out. Because, again, there is no need for you to become another person. You need to find what your identity is. And AJ did. AJ built her identity from the ground up. She became a very, very a powerhouse of a performer. She created her own brand, her own style, her own identity, and now her channel is doing great. I love AJ, and I think that she's going to do some amazing things in the space. But that's exactly what you need to do: is don't rush into things. Build yourself up. Find out who you are as a performer. And work on that, hone it, work it like a muscle until eventually it becomes strong. You don't need all the bells and whistles. Like all this stuff. This is pretty, but you don't need it. You don't need it. If you eventually want to accelerate, then yeah, sure, add your little extra things here and there. But the prime thing is that to succeed on Twitch or to succeed on any social media platform is you have to convince people that you're worth their time. And I do that in a very unique way, in that I genuinely value people's time. Like when I talk to you do need Phantom. I do love Phantom. Phantom is half the reason most people are here. But for me, I value my audience so much because I know how valuable your time is, because I understand how valuable time is. One of the reasons why all of my shows are 2 hours long is because I don't want to ask you for 4 hours a day. I don't want to ask you for 4 hours 4 times a week to keep up with what I do. 2 hours, more manageable. I also make sure that no matter when you come into my chat, I'm always happy to recap my adventure for you, because you may not have had the time to show up at the start of the show when I was recapping. And partway through, does that mean you shouldn't enjoy the show because I'm not willing to talk to you? Of course not. I will talk to you because you as an audience member are giving me your time, and I value that. And everyone here knows that, understands that, and that's my brand, that's my style. You know, it's why I find it very difficult to do certain variety shows, or I find it very difficult to do like charity streams, because with a charity stream, the focus and attention is on building money for the charity and things like that, which, you know, means that for the most part I have to focus on something other than, you know, the audience and stuff like that, which I mean, I can do, I'm capable of doing it, but you know, it's one of those things I'm building up to being better at. So yes, what is your brand, Sam? What are you bringing to the Twitch space? What do you want to focus on? And do it, dude. Like, seriously. There is no playbook. There is no rule book. There is no right and wrong. You won't make money. You won't make a lot of money, not for a while. And that's okay. But always remember that as much as I value your time, you should value your time as well, right? Don't spend 8 hours preparing for a 2-hour stream, because that is 10 hours worth of work, right? Work smart, work hard, and you'll get there in the end. And this is advice for everyone. Wise boys. Yes, all the wise boys. That should be a show. That should be a show I should make. That's it.
Oh, I gotta write that down.
The Wise Boys.
That's an amazing name.
Yeah, Wise Boys. Unless Sam makes a show before we do. Which
Yeah.
is probably very likely. You're very welcome, Sam. And again, if you have any questions, again, hit the Discord and don't be afraid to ask me questions. Like I said, I'm an open book when it comes to my advice and my thoughts. You do not need to. I mean, here's the thing: if you're one of my Patreons, I give you an hour, literally, of time for me to work with whatever you're doing. I'm helping a couple of people, as of recently, work on materials here and there. But more importantly, if you have stuff that you want to work on as well, don't be afraid to ask in chat. And yeah, I'm always happy to hang out and do stuff. But yeah. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've just clocked into the 2-hour mark. So if anyone would like any final questions, let's throw that out there. That said, every hour live stream takes a lot of time off stream when you start out. It's easier with time as it goes on. Yeah, Serum, you are, as always, freaking spot on, mate. Also, hi, Serum. How are you? Hope you're good. Hope you're good. We don't talk as much as we should. We should talk more, but I hope you're well. Me and Serum have been through a lot. We have. I mean, I don't know if I've actually had a conversation with Serum, but we have been through some stuff. It's very weird. It's very strange. It's very bizarre. It's been one of the most bizarre relationships I've had with someone I like so much. Like, I really like Serum. Never talked to him. Don't know why.
Oh.
We are busy all the time. We are. All right. Can I ask, who is Jared's favorite Mythica character?
Oh, my favorite Mythica character. They killed my favorite one. It was the dwarf. The dwarf that was running the bar. I thought that dwarf was hysterical. And also, there was no dwarf in their party. They had an elf. They had a half elf. They had a human, 3 humans. And they were missing the good dwarf. So the dwarf was cool, and then they axed that dwarf. I forgot that character. But yeah, Mythica is awesome. It's on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, you could just purchase. I think it's free. Like the first one is free. Oh, and Wizard Kevin Sorbo. That's what got me into it.
I was gonna say Kevin Sorbo as a wizard.
It's Magic Kevin Sorbo, Magic Hercules. Because we're that generation that grew up with Hercules, the TV series, that and Xena.
I did. And Ulysses and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yep. So that was my favorite character, was the dwarf and wizard Kevin Sorbo.
All right, next
best characters.
All right, fast fire round for the last round of questions. As soon as I run out of questions, we're gonna end. Okay, so McBluff, question: how do we make Jared play a monk?
You would have to.
I know how to. You ready? Jared can't play a monk. He doesn't know how.
Yeah, that's 100% right. I will now have to play a monk. That was stating it wrong. That dead on. I was like, son of a bitch. He did it.
Oh, nailed it.
Dead on.
This is how you know you're close to someone. You can figure them out. But you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'm also kind of guilty of that as well. I was once told, like, hey Michael, do you want to run D&D on a beach? I was like, sorry, on a beach? Do you not know how D&D people work? We don't go outside to beaches and shit. And then it was like, and then I said no to the person who was organizing it, and then my boss, who knew me like the back of my head, says, "Oh, they were asking about the D&D on the beach thing. I recommended you because I thought if anyone could do it, you might be able to." I was like, "Oh," and I know what you're doing, and it worked. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so angry. And then I did run D&D on the beach, and literally it was so humid and crap that the actual sheets melted. Like, in people's hands, they actually turned to, paper mache, melted. I was just like, the hell am I supposed to do now? I should have waterproofed these. Yeah. All right, Sam. So we're going to stop as soon as we run out of questions. Next question is Samberg X Fries. Top homebrew mistakes. Oh, that's a good one.
Collodi. I mean,
savage. Yeah, Collodi, just wrong. Everything. Jesus, what have I done?
It depends on the system, right? So 5th edition is a lot more lenient with homebrew mistakes. Pathfinder 2nd edition, they tweaked it to a point where an extra +1, +2 can sway the system really hard. So that's definitely the homebrew mistakes. Like D&D is amazing with that. Top homebrew mistake is crazy powerful weapons. Like, oh yeah, you can have that plus, that magic enchanted longsword that can extend to now be a two-hander. That's also agile. So your thief that runs off of finesse and is just high dex can now also use that two-handed longsword with dex to attack and to damage. That character is now the strongest character in the game because you've you've unbalanced how the system works. But if that's your game, right? Like if you're just making it rain, magic items on your players and having a blast and then throwing a three-headed cyclops at them and then that's the game. But that's my mistake.
Homebrew mistake. I think my biggest one was making an allowance for a 20-player table.
Oh.
And I had to homebrew rules for how to make 20 people get into initiative without spending ages doing it. So what I did was I said, cool, everyone on that table, you all act individually, but you all act as a single unit to tell me what you guys do as a group. Basically every single action was an epic action and I just couldn't balance it properly. We called it the one-man epic, and like I said, I think it was 27 players.
Jeez.
And it was just little old me because my assistant GM had to call in sick. So that was a fun day. All right, follow-up question. How many more sessions do you think are left in Rise of the Runeland till Jared and DAG just straight up destroy each other as the sass and ragn on each other reach its climax? Well, the short and real answer to that is we are coming up until I guess the first third of book 4. Or is it book 5? We're book 5, right?
Book five.
Yeah, so we're coming into the first third of book 5. So if I had to guess, I'd say that there would be 26 more episodes,
give or take. Yeah, that
give or
would be about
take.
right.
Yeah, roughly there. That is roughly how much. As far as how long before we destroy each other, well, me and Jared love each other. I don't think I've ever felt like. I think once we get into book 6, that's when danger is going to hit, because me and Jared are going to have a very deep conversation about how no one is going to be safe in book 6. And that anyone that I want everyone who is involved to be aware that I'm going to invite everyone who has played in Rise of the Runelords back, and if someone dies, they are leaving the game.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, we give them their farewell, and the player steps off, and that does include Malvolo. So if Malvolo dies, then I will actually step off the stream. And I will only run the tech desk, so you won't actually see me in any more episodes for book 6 when we get to that point. So when we get to that point, it'll be this in one way or another. This will be the end of Rise of the Runelands, because I think that'll add just an extra layer. Because how you get to that point where people kind of want to. Well, yeah, we might do that. It might be maybe I'll I feel like that's especially heartless.
I like it.
But yeah, exactly. I kind of like it as well. I'm it's like we all play that card, we all take that risk. And I think it'd just be crazy.
I mean,
all right. Well, thank you one and all for everyone who has come and joined us today. We hope that you guys have enjoyed everything. Now, before we sign off, we are going to give a quick shout out to, of course, one of the channel sponsors, which of course is Hero Forge, because we love Hero Forge and they provide us with wonderful materials. So if you do get a chance to, please go and check out Hero Forge. I'm about to end this whole man's career. We will end you. No. Go check out Hero Forge, because Hero Forge is awesome, and you can make a lot of really cool minis. We will be making minis next week with Gnome Ann, who is a wonderful D&D performer, homebrewer, and cosplayer. So come check that out on Wednesday Australian morning or Tuesday night US time. Jared, tell us what you're up to.
So currently we're still running our Wrath of the Righteous in Pathfinder 2nd edition. So if you're a fan of fighting demons and Demigorgon, that's what we're doing. So we're converting it to Pathfinder Second Edition.
Hi, Jared's
Slowly,
mom.
it's still my mom. It's almost that time. And I've been hanging up on her, and that's fine. But besides that, we've been doing that, and coming up actually is really cool. I'm going to be, if you happen to be in the area, I'm going to send Michael the link, and then he can link it to chat. But if you happen to be in New York and you want to play some Pathfinder Second Edition, I will be running a 2 tables at the Long Island Tabletop Convention that is taking place on April 9th. So I'm running the Pathfinder Second Edition. I always have a blast there. Come through. I will be doing everyone's getting a free set of dice because that I'm awesome, and I want to just give them out to my players, and you get to meet me, and you get to have me as a GM. So I'm going to be doing that and trying to kill Tina's character in our Red the Righteous campaign. Like I'm full on trying to kill her. She knows what she did.
She knows what she did. That's it. Beautiful. I love it. As for myself, guys, I am going to be in my regular schedule. So Monday, which is in like a couple of hours, I will be back with Curse of the Crimson Throne with wonderful and amazing people who are my Patreons. Tuesday, I will be on WSD 20 playing Rime of the Frost Maiden. Wednesday, we will be doing Hero Forge building. Thursday, I think I'm not streaming, but I might stream a Seeker's Guide to Twisted Taverns read. We'll see how that goes. Friday, I've got the Ruby Phoenix. No, I do not. I do not have Ruby Phoenix. Friday, I have... Actually, I might have Ruby Phoenix, but Friday, I actually am going to be hosting I'm not going to be hosting, I'm going to be on Gary Con's online ethereal game.
What?
Yes, I'm gonna be the Australian representative, or one of the Australian representatives for Gary Con Day 1.
Awesome.
Hold on, let me share this. Let me share this with you guys. Come here, you. Come here, you. Get on my Twitch stream. There it is. Boom! Look at him. Look at his face. There it is. Gary Con, 24th. Now, this was made by the person who's running it. It does not list the time, which I think is
nice.
Which I think is very important. But time-wise, I believe we will be starting. Let me just check the schedule here. All right. So for those of you, here we go. It will start at. Well, the intro is starting at 1:30 p.m. ACDT. I don't know what that is. And 2 p.m. ACDT is when I will be starting.
Hey,
Raiders!
hey, what's going on, Raiders?
Hi, Dirty 20. We're actually just wrapping up, but stick around because you'll earn some channel points. So there you go. How was your stream? Hope you were doing well. We're just trying to figure out what ACDT stands for. Australian Central Daylight Time. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, so that's Aussie time. That's an Aussie time. All right. So that would translate to let me check this out. So that is 2.5 hours ahead of WASD. So that'd be 12:30 p.m. Australian Western Standard, which would be midnight, just after midnight in the US on the East Coast. Yeah. So there you go. We'll be over on the GaryCon live channel. So there you go. That's where we'll be. And I'll be running a game that is near and dear to me. For those of you who have been on my channel for a long, long time, this is going to be a very, very nice little reveal. But the game I will be running is Return... Well, that should be Return to Wilderon, but I need to go yell at Eddie, because I didn't realize that until just then. Return to Wilderon. Now, before in the old series, one of the series I did in my homebrew setting was the Winds of Wilderon, which featured a bunch of characters who went to an anthropomorphic world of animals and stuff like that. Stuff happened in that series, and at GaryCon, I'll be doing a one-shot where a group of individuals will be returning to the land of Wilderon in order to kind of see the aftermath of what had happened. So yeah, that is a continuation of what that is. Oh, thank you, Nemo. I'm glad you got goosebumps. So there we go. We're going to be returning to Wilderon. Yeah, so I'm very excited for that. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, hold on. Let me just go here.
Excited.
Hey Eddie, can I have it
Dear
say
Eddie.
return to Wilderon?
Dearest Eddie,
Please.
it has been a fortnight since we've spoken.
It has been a fortnight since we have spoken, and I am still as disappointed today as I was before. Eddie, why? Eddie, do not ignore me. Eddie, do not ghost me. I will find you, Eddie, and when I find you, I will kill you. No, I love Eddie. Eddie is amazing. Speaking of Eddie, Eddie will be coming back to Rise of the Rune Lords sometime very soon as well. So also be looking out for that. So yay. All right, cool. Now I think we're done. Are we done? Is that it? Have we properly finished?
Yeah, I think we're pretty solid. We found out what ACDT and not ACDC is.
There you go. Beautiful.
So I'm pretty excited. Yeah, so I'm super amped to see your game return to Wilderon. That's gonna be awesome. Like, I actually followed that series, so I'm excited to see where you guys go.
Spectacular. Well, in which case, guys, be sure to check those out. Be sure to come and visit us when we go play those games. Follow me on all social medias because that is going to be the best way to contact me. And yeah, follow all the stuff that we do. Last question. Hey, DAG, are you going to Blackwood D&D Winterfest in Bridgetown? Is Bridgetown still there? I thought it burnt to the ground. The answer to that is I have not planned to. Serum, send me a message as to when that is, and I might make it down. I thought Bridgetown was gone. Not even joking. Thought it got eaten by a fire. Pretty sure there was a fire down there. It is the case of most things in Australia, though. But yeah, there you go. All right, now it's still there. Okay, cool. Yeah, let me know when it is. And of course, I came for the end of a stream. Have a nice day, everyone. Well, Dragoness, this one's just for you. Dragoness, have a wonderful week. Along with everyone else, may your games roll cleverly. May your rolls be interesting. Until we meet again, as always, from me to you, game hard or die trying. Bye, everyone. Also, say hi to Mendari for us, because that's where we're rating. Flood their chat with love.